Hello and welcome everybody. Just like The Fast and the Furious, this is a series of many parts, and we're going to see some interesting plays by the AllReasonNoLogic family. Keep your seatbelts fastened and jump on into this match of King of the Hill. Starting us off in the middle, we have 9 players. We're just receiving a lovely medal donation right here, right now, who are going to be up against the absolute masses, 75 of them, in fact, if you discount that one comm that just exploded. Joining me in the cast is Tank Tom and Twig. Let us run straight into this one. Interestingly, this one was such a shock on the night. We didn't end up recording it, but we've come back to it to make this happen for you, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoy.
Yeah, that's right. Unfortunately, on the night, a few rule breaks distracted us and made it for not the best live cast, but it gives us the opportunity to come back and really analyze what goes on in this one because it's a little bit different. Not really what we were expecting for a majority of this game anyway. Slightly lower OS Central Kings team. We were ranging from the 20s, some in the teens, even one down at 9 OS, but that doesn't really matter. OS doesn't matter in King of the Hill. If you know what you're doing, if you know the builds and you know the objective and you know your role, you can pretty much ignore that and get on in anytime. And anyone is welcome to join these games on Sundays. Just jump on our Discord, links in the description below. Tom, run us through the rules.
And that's at 9 p.m. Australian Central Standard Time if you're interested. And just for a quick rules run through, the way that this is possible is that there is a 10-minute no rush noted by the lava around the map. There's also a bonus given to the players in the middle, in this case 65%. And we've also got some minor tweaks on things like some changes to allow for some bigger build turrets, as well as some, I do believe there are a couple of units that have been pulled out, maybe just for throne. Also, air is off, which does give both sides an opportunity to not have to go into that level of defenses.
Air off, LRPCs are off, and nukes are off as well. So you have to fight in with those units rather than just shelling with static defense.
You'll find that when you're part of the AllReasonNoLogic crew, that is a pretty standard thing that goes on. We appreciate the game for the tools it lets you play with, not the ones that are a bit hands off.
That's right, and the reason for some of those rules is simply that if they're on, like you can imagine, one LRPC, how much damage that'll do when you know exactly where the King's Eco is. It's in the middle.
It'll always be in the same spot. Now, looking into the map at the moment, we've actually had 2 interesting starts opposite to each other. In the bottom left, we had a player start on the outer ring, the middle ring mexes, and same with Potato at the top, who's done the same. Going to put their eco in a more vulnerable position, but it does mean that those build turrets are going to be in the right spots when you need them. One thing to bear in mind, it is very hard to build a T3 lab anywhere near the outside of your inner ring, because that is on an angle, so the game does not like that. So you either have to commit to building inside or outside in the ring.
That's right. So what we're really seeing here is bit of a test of coordination and concentration for the Kings. This 10-minute no rush, they really got to be as efficient as possible, get the tech advantage, because that is the advantage for the Kings. Both teams have a wing condition. It's very asymmetric, but it's not unfair. Both sides, the peasants, time's on their side. The Kings have to break out and really. There's 75 peasants to kill, so that's going to take a while. Whereas Kings, they can't really risk a mistake. You can't treat this like a normal team game. Kings essentially it's playing survival RTS, while the horde, the peasants, it's more like playing an attrition RTS, I'd say.
I think one of the critical factors with that is with the peasants, you've got lots of space to continue to scale that eco. With the Kings, you end up basically limited with how many units you can have for your unit population, and just your physical space. And if anything gets in, it tends to explode really nicely. Whereas when you push out into the peasants, you can get 10 bases deep and make a minor effect. Because if you don't get to a corner, they'll still come rolling through with a T3 at 20 minutes, half an hour.
Yeah, when you've got 70
And
plus commanders around the outside of the map as well, like that's a lot of units that can get degunned.
And speaking of those corners, if we look at the top right, it's 5 minutes and we already have a fusion down, conversions just coming down. This is the power of co-op eco in those corners. Look how many players have worked together to make this happen. All of the mechs are already T2.
That is pretty.
And if you compare that
efficient.
to the corner on the left, yes, they've worked together to get that one T2 lab, but we are far behind in exactly what's going on. Similarly, bottom left-hand side, they've got their lab up and they're starting on their T2 mexes, and on the right side and on the bottom right-hand side, a similar sort of thing. But it is that top right that's going to be real pushing power. You can either convert that into pushing power at the start of the match, or you can convert that into a lot of eco to come crashing down at the end. To speak on Twig's point, when you push into the middle, you are pushing into essentially one player, even though there are 9 different hands controlling it. Once you're in one spot, you're very likely to get in the rest. The Kings have to treat themselves as one big player if they want to have any chance to win this one.
Yeah, and if I'll just jump over to this actually. For those that don't join these games that often, what you usually see is 8 kings around the outside that take 6 mexes, and then there's one, I like to call him the Eco King, in the middle. This guy here, we've got Realistic Joe playing in this position this game. They're going to try and get as much economy up as possible, and it's their job to fill the gaps and also assist lanes once a lane's breached. Abuse it with a bit of T3, because you're going to have a lot of T3 coming out of this player once you get about 5 minutes past the no rush timer elapsing.
Something to note about the current eco player, they're definitely a little behind the 8 ball on this one. Usually you see a fusion completed at the 7 minutes at the latest in the middle, but it does look like we have one only just coming down. Now, part of that was because of the slow take of the mexes in the middle. They just used their comm to grab them all. It's certainly worth sending builders out to do that.
Yeah.
Similarly,
Also,
the Kings also have a
reclaim that
weak
lab.
lane just to the right. Reclaim that lab, sorry. Definitely reclaim that lab. To the right, we have a slightly weakened lane. This player has invested in units very, very early on. That means that their eco is not going to boom. You have to make sure when you're doing something like this, when you're playing a position like this, that you spend the first 7 minutes or so on your eco, because you are under no threat whatsoever, and the number of units you'll be able to pump out later if you have the economy will be significantly more than this. There's currently 50 pawns on the field, and what'll be some number of sprinters by the 10-minute mark. I expect that if you'd waited till 7 minutes, you could almost double the number available.
It is important
So
as
it's
well.
about
Like you can use
3,500 metal in units at the moment.
Yeah, well, and think about this, like, yes, you will have an initial push, but if there's any push back straight afterwards, that could be a problem, because this player has no pork in their lane. What you want to do is, looking down at Maz's lane here on the south, we've got LLTs up. They're going to deal with spam. We're going to see some Scorpions come up to deal with the heavier units. So this is probably about the amount of defenses you want to see at the 10-minute mark. Adding construction turrets in is something I've done recently too, because if they don't go down, they're there to reclaim any metal that's left on the field, and also they're there to just heal anything that's in the way.
Speaking of a strongly defended lane, the very top for the Kings, they have got a very defended lane right there. We've got just a handful of T1 metal extractors ready to go at the 9-minute mark. Similarly, on the left and on the right of that player, we've got some walls and a couple of structures coming down, as well as and same on the right as well. So the whole top half of the map is playing a dangerously risky game, and if they were backing it up with the eco, I'd say good on you. But between the 3 of them, there isn't even one fusion yet.
If they were finishing the APHIS at about this point, and we're cutting it tight because of that,
Speaking of
you can
APHIS,
run that gamble.
top right, APHIS 2 fusions. There's also another fusion
And a
for another
T3
player.
lab coming down, which means that they're going for the aggressive strategy.
I like that.
Yeah.
If you get a Razorback pretty early, if there's no snipers, no stylites out for the Kings, yeah.
Now let's have a look at the state of the game if we bandbox that entire map. we'll be able to see exactly what's coming up. Looks like there's about 420 units on the map. We do know that about 100 of those are from the red player between the pawns and the sprinters, which means that the Kings are going to have a pretty easy go of it, and especially looking at those lanes, the undefended lanes are not going to be harassed this time round.
This player that has all the units, they look like they're going to be running face-to-face. There goes the lava, by the way. Face-to-face into probably a heavily defended lane with 2 commanders there.
They've got the comms there.
Yeah, they'll just detonate and then take out the whole army. If they went down this next lane, 1 beamer. Always worth.
But that is the luck of the draw. But you can somewhat swing it in your favor with some scouting cameras or by using your radars. Great D-guns just there, but realistically just positioning the comm inside the ball to try and get it done. I would have pulled the self-D a little bit earlier because it was going to go down regardless, and you probably could have grabbed that ball before it runs past. But 1 ball of units passing through, and look, at the end of the day, the strategy seems to have worked. They've cleared out 1 player's worth that was going for the fusion. The gap is still there. The units are still piling up, and we'll see whether they can collect any of these really big wind farms around the corner. Looks like the sprinters are heading to them, but it's only going to take just a couple to pop all of that. Just remember, if the units, if more than 2 or 3 of these go, then they will start chain reacting, and that's a great result right there. With 2 players taken out at the 10-minute mark, that will overcome the problems around those T2 labs, provided they can get the reclaim and they can start pushing through. But units coming down from other players to start to help hold this lane. The blitzers, whilst not the perfect counter to this, will do a decent amount of damage to the pawns, if not the sprinters, and the comms in the way to stop those sprinters. So nicely cleaned up there. Looking around the rest of the map, we do finally have an attack coming from the top part of the map. The brutes are coming into an undefended lane, but welders are now being produced to push them back. Unfortunately, they are going to have a free roam to walk around, and with units bypassing on Potato's side, the welders are in. Those handful of twin guards just not enough, and the units too slow to come because the economy is lagging a little bit behind. The fusion only being built now, and it is under threat directly from those marauders. A little bit of indecision has brought those marauders into range of a couple of these scorpions, and they are now being shelled as they move around by the Sheldons, but they're going to get into the base. Wizard of Hog doing a good job getting into position with the comm. The comm will likely go down, but it's going to take plenty of them with it.
2 left
to have moved through some conversion down, but realistically, for that level of investment, this is not much damage done, and a very lucky thing for the Kings, because this could have been an even bigger problem. But Potato is in trouble because units continue to stream down, and there's no help coming from either side currently.
Bottom left, we've just seen a push out of 2 players, so Pormont and Ozvideo both deciding to attack out of the same lane, rather than going down through one of these other lanes. Maybe they've been scouted and seen as well defended, whereas this, you can see this lane here, not much here, a couple pop-ups. We do have T2 Tigers, but probably quite easy to take Tigers out. I prefer Tigers as a 1 versus 1 unit. When it comes to these games where you can have a lot more options, they can be sniped, they can be taken out from a distance quite easily.
They definitely are sufficiently chunky enough for the early game.
Bit of a push for Centurions on the north, actually taking out a Starlight. So Starlights, when you're up against a unit that is faster than you, just keep it shooting it for as long as possible until it goes down, because it's not going to get away. And
they have a very slow turn radius too, so you've got to bear that one in mind.
That's it. Okay, how are we going with eco? What's happening at that top right? We've gone into another APHIS. Plenty of middle in the bank. I wouldn't mind seeing some Razorbacks coming out of these players here. Second T2 lab coming out of this corner, so doing really well. Top left, going into their first APHIS. We have a couple fusions. Bottom left, 1 APHIS up there, a couple fusions. And then bottom right.
This is where decision making and map awareness is critically important. Yes, they're going into that fusion right now, but they know from that attack with just maces and a couple of Centurions that this lane is essentially wide open, and the manufacturing power is not there to be able to stop a massive T1 push. Sometimes it is well worth running yourself down at those lanes. Similar thing on the top right hand side. Potato's lane has been broken. The second one is very weakly defended. There is an open lane next to them as well, but unfortunately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 players that could be going into T1 units to back up a T3 push from the top right side not doing it. So I do understand why the top right side is going into that little bit of eco. Without the extra help there from the T1 to frontline, it is not necessarily a good option to run the T3 straight down.
I'm loving Pormont's defenses on the left, like a lot of beamers, pop-ups of all tiers, and plenty of construction turrets as well as gunslingers. You're not going to get through that too easily until it gets to the T3 phase of the game. So nice.
And the really good thing is he's helping to support the lane next to him as well. He's got his lane locked down, and then supporting the one next to him, which is struggling a little bit.
It's something I got to learn to do.
Yeah, as we said, starting this one off, you have to treat the whole team as one player, where you have to extend your arm to help the other lanes, because if you don't, you end up with leaks that can run through, or entire run-throughs that can cripple another player from behind. If you defend all the fronts together, you don't need defenses behind. Unfortunately, if you don't have defenses behind, a handful of ticks can run on by and find themselves some conversion. Thankfully, they pushed in right where the T3 lab is producing.
And really nicely done out of Joe, just getting Razorbacks in all the critical areas. You can see, where were the ones that went up north? I swear there was like 3 up north. Oh, they've gone in and they've done some damage actually.
But there are other Razorbacks going in right now to the Interpretato's base, essentially giving him a complete reset if they can take off that build power. They are targeting the wrong things right now, though, and they don't quite have enough power to fire consistently, which is doing a decent amount, which is doing them dirty, unfortunately. I do believe these were handed off to another player that doesn't have the fusions to fire them. These could have done a lot more damage. They've still done what they needed to do, but they might have been able to do it faster and push in if they did have that power. But yes, speaking of the Razorbacks in the top left-hand side, that push did manage to make its way up the ramps, but because it was an 8 Razorback or 10 Razorback push, because it had no spam, the 3 dead comms there are a testament to just how much was taken out of that push. Only the 1 Razorback remaining goes down to a comm right there. If that had had some spam coming through ahead of it, I reckon that this would have been a game-ending push for the top left-hand side.
Duck's the answer there. Quite surprising. We got a big push on the bottom left out of a few players here. We got T3, we got Shivas, we got Sheldons for the range, we got some grunts running forward to deter any commanders, and then we've also got support out of a number of arbiters, a unit that really is quite beneficial in King of the Hill for both kings and peasants, being able to take that eco out from a distance.
And do you know what isn't there? Comm defenses. I know the comm defenses wouldn't be the best because we do have some T1 pouring through right now, but it is going to be comms that will take out T3 units at this stage of the game. With that Fat Boy there, the Fat Boy will do a lot of damage to the T1, and it's only now that VVK is sending that comm in. The comm is not invisible. You have to keep your comms invisible at this point in the game, because if it hadn't taken that one massive volley, it might have been able to sneak through for that little bit more damage. And other players, get your comms ready in these situations. There should be at least 3 to each entrance.
You can see here a couple of them are moving forward, but not enough energy. This is where you need a storage. Throw down a storage, because then you can at least keep your commander ready for a couple D guns.
Also, XMF is putting that other comm in danger by not being cloaked until now. Those units, decent firing solution on him, and he is going to go down. Dutch is just playing the long game, seeing if he can wait, but unfortunately these grunts are going to reveal him. There we go, that is the invisibility down and the arbiters firing. So unfortunately this bottom left-hand corner is in big trouble.
Yeah, we've got welders coming out. Another player going for the Razorbacks. They might only just get out in time. I don't know if that's the right decision. Like, I reckon T2, this player should be going for snipers, I reckon. You could put out a lot more snipers.
No.
20 seconds for a Razorback.
There we go. That is most of the economy of this bottom left-hand corner being taken out right now. The question is going to be, can the left-hand side rally and push this back? There isn't actually too much left right here after that comm explosion. Handful of Razorbacks, handful of Shivas, and some T1. Depending on if the defenses can orientate, this might still be quite holdable. Speaking of quite holdable though. We do have a force building up on the top left-hand side. A large number of Starlights getting ready to fight with these Sheldons. So long as they have some vision from T1, should be good to start breaking in. Unfortunately, they do have a tendency to all fire at once if they're in a straight line. So they're taking a bit of extra damage. And once one of them goes down, that chain reaction damage is massive.
Yeah, that's huge. One Starlight left. Let's look a little bit to the left. We've got a couple of Marauders bouting with Hicks. Coming off second best as far as I'm concerned. With that Commander sitting there, I don't think those Marauders are going to make a push there. We'll see what Paulmont does to push through this lane shortly, but I don't think it's going to happen straight away. Oh, actually, Vanguard just comes out. That's exactly what you want to do, especially with the Commander now visible. That Vanguard's going to be able to clear that out. The explosion might be enough to take out the defenses. No, the Commander's coming forward. Probably a smart move here.
If your comm's going to go down, just send it forward. You can't afford to let it blow up your defenses.
Luckily for that player, the Vanguard not targeting the right direction.
And enough signals from the ticks to manage to hide this one. However, if you are a player and that thing does happen to you, there'll usually be only one unit moving away. That's the one you manual fire.
Yeah, we have just in the meantime seen the bottom left fall. Obviously there, not much to defend, just the 1 or 2 Razorbacks was easily broken by T3. A lot of action happening top right now. We have a ball of Vanguards. Up against Razorbacks, so the Vanguards with that hill there are probably going to come off best. I don't think these Razorbacks, without any spam anyway, are going to be able to hold these off for too long, especially with a whole bunch of spam coming towards them. They're going to be distracted.
One of the things that you can do in this situation, or that you should do in this situation with those Razorbacks, you can't just pull them back taking that chip damage. You either have to pull back to the point where they're not hitting you, or just push in and try and get the damage done, because otherwise you're going to lose them all for very little effect. And while this is happening, you need to get your own counter to this, whether it's Vanguards or Catapults or something along those lines, so that you can start shelling back. You also need to make sure that you have your spam going, so that your spam is taking the shots, and so that you can get that vision that you need for accurate shots. Kings at this point should certainly have pinpointers, though I think that in most Kings games we end up without those for the Kings team, because everyone is APM stalled.
We've got a bunch of demons. The MVP of King of the Hill, Raptor Crater, in my opinion, walk around the map. The reason I like them so much is you can ground fire, so you can fire ahead as you're walking, just using that S key if you're on grid keys. Not too sure what it is for Legacy. And yeah, prevent any commanders from degunning just by spraying the ground there.
One of the power units in this game mode is the demon. Unlike in regular play where it tends to come out later, you can bring it out when it's only fighting mid to low tier T2 units, not the snipers, not things like that take it out very quickly, and so it can be an absolute powerhouse. Not to mention the comm is the biggest threat, and that ground fire is the answer.
The Messiah's coming out of the middle now, doing well to clean up any pushes from Razorbacks. Pretty even gap right now. About a fifth of the peasants have fallen in that bottom left corner. The rest of them are having to go into units. No more economic expansion because they have to react, otherwise they will die.
So it is only one corner that's fallen though.
Yeah,
there's still quite a lot of.
At this stage of the game, I'd like to see. Oh, you're about to say. Well, I think you're about to say, Pro. You're about to say that one corner does affect it though, because it means that king could then push into another lane.
And especially considering that the powers that took that left corner were a lot of Mazza and a lot of Paulmont, they're now free to start tackling their own problems, like as we see is now happening. Paulmont up the ramp with those Marauders, getting the chain reactions, getting the build power, which is critical. There is going to be nothing that can get here to stop this attack anytime soon, because that build power is going down, which means that this isolates the gap of units, the gap of peasant players that's still there, and gives a launching stage to go up and around. But the Kings are under a lot of pressure still. Potato just has not been able to recover this entire time because of the constant pressure of these peasants on the top right hand side. And this is one of those points where you have to decide what is important and what is not for the peasants. It's one of the reasons we always encourage a lot of aggression. Right now there is the possibility of the peasants winning the game. There is basically nothing between them and the middle of the map. All they have to do is go, go, go. And if they let the player in the middle come online too much, they will be able to push those defenses there. But a fast attack right now of T1 would be devastating for the Kings.
What would you do if you were Potato right now?
I mean, I wouldn't be going T3 units.
Yeah,
don't have
more
the economy
units rather
for
than
it.
bigger units.
He's at plus 25 and trying to build a demon. The demon is not going to deal with these arbiters if
no
it's
conversion.
One demon won't debut.
Yeah.
So you look at the map. You look at the map position, and you realize the bottom half of the map is doing quite well. So your role is to defend like absolute crazy. So get units like catapults that are good to defend. And if you're not at that stage, then get your own ball of arbiters. Get your own T1. Become the person that's going to put the spam where it needs to be. Put down your defenses. Get yourself a lot of those artillery pieces.
One thing I'd be doing...
Get an armada builder to put down pulsars, and just use your human advantage to manual fire into these balls of arbiters. You can see where the missiles are coming from, and so you can fire at that spot.
Yeah, good decision there to just reclaim the lab and go into some mammoths just to get the defense. They do take quite a bit to push through those. Yeah, one thing I would do if I was this player would be ask for help from the middle player. They give me 10 of these Razorbacks to hold back, because Razorbacks pushing into these arbiters are going to come out quite well.
The problem is the middle player has done that already. They did send 10 Razorbacks up to defend this, and unfortunately Razorbacks are not the solution to this problem.
One of the best things you can do when you're on the back foot is get up spam, just so there's some units for them to shoot at. They keep on replenishing as the line dies, because that will buy you a bit of time. And then you can do things like have the Razorbacks come through and shoot over the top of your spam lines.
Yeah.
And if you can get your spam into the arbiters, they'll kill themselves as well.
Speaking of a spam line, it is the left-hand side that is pushing through with a mix of T1 and T3 units, a couple of T2 thrown in there, managing to break the snipers that were holding them because of that spam in front, because of those titans behind. And now they're well and truly up the ramp. And this is, again, more isolation for the Peasants team, less ramps that need to be held, and more power that can be pushed up and around. And if you look at the massive eco of the Peasants just above, Michelle is getting ready for a fight, but that's the problem. Getting ready for a fight, not actually fighting.
Yeah, probably a reaction about 5 minutes ago, even if it was half that amount of aces, is what you wanted to do, to stop so many players.
Wall of converters.
Yeah. They pop so easy as well. You think you just send
anything touches those.
Some constructors to build it up in the back line, especially when there's not much taken in the corner. Here we go. Paulmont's Razorbacks going to find them, and we're going to see some big pops happening.
Oh dear. And this is one of the things. King of the Hill is a game about making good decisions, and this is a problematic decision right now, but so too is the middle of the map. There are units pushing well and truly in from the right-hand side. The Peasants are on a warpath, for which there doesn't look like there's going to be much stopping. The reaction out of the other players just isn't there yet, and a Titan has managed to punch right the way through. It's only Razorbacks really defending. What we need to see is a complete and total pull from some of the bottom sections of the map. For example, Oz Video does not need to be doing anything down at the bottom of the map. They could just be helping defend up the top. Similarly, we do have Mazza, who still has to fight down the bottom, but could definitely be helping this spot.
I think I'm all for Cortex start in the middle as the eco player. Unit compositions are just a bit better for this stage of the game. Everyone else can build the Razorbacks, but there's no... I feel like Shivas and Demons are the way to go. Probably even just Shivas and Catapults.
Yeah, Cortex has a lot of the answers for being in the middle. You like right now, a couple of catapults could have severely crippled this push because this push has been done on off of the back of some Sheldons that have done an amazing amount of damage and arbiters that have been alive for almost the entire game.
Yeah, let me just select those. How many kills do we see?
It won't be that many, but the amount of damage they've done is ridiculous.
Yeah,
And they
constant
keep
splash
everything
damage.
at a distance as well.
Very much so. So we're just not seeing the reactions out of the other players. Paulman is doing a fantastic job of pushing, of breaking through and pushing up. But this corner, with that amount of eco taken out, is not completely crippled, but essentially crippled. And unfortunately, the game is going to be over if units don't push in from behind. Sometimes you do have to slow your own momentum in order to be able to break out. Because right now, we have the entire top right-hand side of the map has been taken out. Three players down, the middle barely alive still.
I'm loving just some dedicated players here. We got Piece of Bread, and we've got some of the players in the background just into spam. That's their only role. They've got fusions. They're putting it all onto spam just to absolutely flood the middle. And quite often in King of the Hill, we'll see just a lonely little tick like this, sitting off to the side, picking off a advanced energy converter, and then bang, there goes an entire metal conversion economy and all the build power in a base.
And build power for the Kings is so critically important. Their eco is great. Like, even at this stage in the game, their eco is still well, actually their eco is now a problem.
It was
but
good.
in the lead up to that, even with 3 players gone, their eco was only 25% down on the peasant eco. Unfortunately, things like unit cap, build power, they just become so important. And again, said this from the start, the players that are the aggression is so important for keeping the Kings on the back foot, because this top right side just never let off the gas. They never let the players scale back into it. They never let them build back up. And now that we're seeing the fruits of that labor.
It is. This was a game where on the night I was thinking, oh wow, slightly lower OSs than we see in the middle, but they were going to win as far as I was concerned. You can see how much got damaged around this side here, but unfortunately the leak came through on the top right for the peasants right at the right time, and that classic example of yeah, a game of survival for the Kings on that top right. And
the Kings did well to stabilize for as long as they did, because there was a huge amount of pressure on that top right corner from that 10-minute mark onwards, and there was never a chance to really catch a breath and recover again.
Yeah, and once you break, that hill doesn't look so much as a hill, more of a meat grinder. As soon as one of those lanes breaks, it's looking very blue in the middle.
If we look at the left-hand side of the map, we've got Paulmont, who is sliding their way up towards small, abandoning the middle of the map early, trying to survive this for as long as possible. Paulmont is coming up for that big family hug right now. This is the
For the Commonwealth.
This is the AllReasonNoLogic moment that we've been waiting for.
That's a nice way to end the game.
And that's right, Paulmont making sure that we fit one more game in for the night.
You can see as well how well Paulmont was doing with destroying the enemy resources. And yeah, Kings really did very well in general. Very unfortunate for the players in the top right. Just probably not enough attention from other Kings putting up there. That's where all the aggression was coming from. Let's just look at the graphs quickly for the damage dealt. And we'll see, yeah, a couple of blue lines.
To see, but
there's that
look
one
at
player.
That is the player that had the long range units.
Yeah, just continuously chipping away, and that is how the game was won. Is just chip away.
Is right. Well, thank you everyone for watching this one. I thought it was a very exciting one on the night, because we thought it would go one way then the other, and just a good back and forth, and it shows that it only takes one spot. One spot needs to break for the Kings to lose, but the Kings can do so much damage. Anyway, if you enjoy these ones, like, follow, subscribe, join us live on the Sunday nights, and jump into the Discord. We do a Wednesday night stream where you can say hello, you can tell us what we're good at, what we're bad at, and join us for some co-op AI. Hope you guys enjoyed this one as much as I did. I've been Pradith.
Big.
And thank Tom.
and we'll catch you in the next one.
See you guys.
See ya.